So I have here with me Mr. Joel Torres, creative director of Dodge Sports, MMA agent, MMA enthusiast, MMA expert, and my dear friend. How are you, bro?
I'm great, man. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Like, glad to have you talking with me again. It's been a while since we could have another chat. You've been busy.
Yes, we've been crazy busy lately. We got tons of guys and girls back to fighting, so we have tons of fight weeks. It feels like fight week is every week now.
Tell us about like what's happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, so regional MMA is back. I think it's probably officially back. There's so many regional promotions in the United States happening, tons of them on UFC Fight Pass. So we've had a lot of our athletes active on CFFC, LFA, and some more like local local regional promotions. So it's been pretty exciting. We have Justin Wetzel back. He's
Yeah.
returning to LFA next weekend. So we're pumped.
Man, I am pumped for that one, man. Cannot wait to see Justin Bang again. And also, he's been waiting for a fight, so he must be very excited about it.
Oh, he's pumped. He's pumped. The minute we got the opportunity, it was almost like an instant yes, and we got the contract, we signed it, and we were ready to go. He's been in camp for a while now. We weren't able to fight the last time we were scheduled, due to an injury, but he's hungry, he's ready, and with Contender Series coming back in November, I think we're kind of eyeing that for him.
Man, that's good. That's good. Obviously, he's well prepared for this fight. Can you tell us something about the opponent?
The opponent. So Justin is going to be a savage and fight up a weight class. He's going to fight at 145, even though he's a savage at 135. I think one of the things that a lot of people realize is during a pandemic, it's a lot of short notice opportunities, and really the guys who want to fight are the ones fighting. So he's fighting a 145er. This kid's a little bit bigger, but Justin's with the best camp in the world, so I expect Justin to take him down and put a beating.
Yeah, me too, man. Like I was asking on JockPharm, where can we see him? Where can we see the fight?
The fight itself,
Yeah, is it gonna be on Fight Pass or something?
yes sir. Yeah, it's gonna be on Fight Pass on Friday, and it's gonna be streaming live on UFC Fight Pass. Justin is on the main card, so you will see him if you download UFC Fight Pass and subscribe.
Cool. No, I'll definitely check it out, man. Gotta see that. Gotta see that match and that match. And speaking of fight cards and everything, man, did you see the last event yesterday, last night's event?
Last night, yeah, man, I was it was a great card. Honestly, it was a great card, great main card. Um, it was pretty late. We don't really get a lot of late cards here in Denver just because of the
Okay.
time difference. So this one actually went a little bit later. But what did you think about it? Did you finally get to watch it?
I got to watch it. I really enjoyed it. I even saw the Adesanya fight twice.
You saw it twice already.
I saw it twice, man. I really enjoyed it. It was a great card. I think there were really good fights in general. This guy, what's Brandon?
Royval.
Yes, thank you. That fight was that was like
Oh,
impressive.
that
Like,
was a great
whoa,
man.
that dude was never stopping, was going for it. He had the really nice combinations, man. That was like for me
Yeah.
the best fight there.
That elbow that he gave,
Oh, that was
that
insane.
that was insane. So Brandon, actually, fun fact, he headlined the card that I was introduced to Justin Wetzel. That's when I first saw Justin fight. I was there live. He ended up capturing the LFA flyweight title, and then soon, shortly after, got called up.
Yeah.
But that same card was the one where I went to go scout Justin.
Man, that is crazy. Cool. Yeah, that kid is insane, man. I love how he fights. He really shined in this event, man. But
Yeah.
we gotta obviously talk about Paulo Costa and Israel Adesanya. Man, is he just a great
He's great.
fighter, composed? technical, just a great athlete, man. He
Yeah,
controlled the fight very nicely.
he was super impressive, man. Phenomenal performance from him. He really picked him apart, like
Did
limb by limb, and eventually got the kill. I'm a fan of showboatings, you know. I'm a fan of characters like that, but it has to be at the right time, and you know, I find it kind of hilarious that he was showboating a lot and went out that way, but it went exactly how I expected, I think.
Yeah, yeah, me too. It was very exciting. Paulo Costa did a good job, but it's just Easy was did a great job, like you say, dismantling the guy little by little. When he was like kicking the legs, hitting the body, and then in the end he just got that TKO.
He broke him down, man. Those leg kicks were brutal. Those side
They
kicks to the leg,
were, they
you could
were,
see it
man.
was pain. It was starting to wear on him a lot. Um, it was wild. Even in the fight before that, man, the co-main event with Jan. Did you
Yeah,
see how his leg kicks were starting to bruise the ribs
it's
of Reyes?
wow.
Oh
Every
man,
every time I would see those leg kicks, man, to the body, it would sting this part for me. Because now you can also hear the hits a lot more. So it was
hmm
like a very nasty slap there. Oh,
yeah, that was an amazing fight. I kept telling people, man, I kept telling them that I had just had a feeling that Jan was gonna take it. Like he's just been the one that people overlooked, in my opinion, that whole time. You know what I mean? Like nobody thought, and then to have a performance like that, man, and then call out John Jones, that's
yeah,
wild. That's wild.
that is true, man. Like, but is it John Jones gonna really fight in heavyweight? Is it the done deal?
Yeah, I mean, he says he is, right? He vacated the belt officially. Last night was for the official light heavyweight championship. So whether he fights up or eventually comes back down to fight Jan, I guess we'll see. But the point is, yeah, heavyweight, I think.
You know what would be interesting if he could go a category down to middleweight and fight easy.
I don't know if he could. That would be a brutal weight cut, but that would be crazy. I mean, he has the body structure, right? Like the length
Yeah.
he has. He's thin. He's not like he's a muscular heavyweight. So who knows? And maybe with proper nutrition.
Or easy go up a weight. I don't know, but that match would be a lot more fun than any other heavyweight match having John Jones. Because yeah, it would be quite interesting to see him fight Stipe, but I think it would be more a better fight if that could happen. Jones versus Adesanya.
I think it'll happen eventually. I think Adesanya will probably go up in weight once he kind of get basically clears the division. If he gets to that point. I think the reason why you probably won't see Jones go down is those guys are faster. Those guys are lighter on their feet, right? Like you go up in heavyweight, you don't see that as much.
That
He,
is true.
he's gonna be faster. He's gonna be lighter. He's gonna be, like look at what DC did the first time he fought Stipe. I think DC was a lot quicker probably than he may have anticipated because
True.
heavyweights aren't fast. Not a lot of them are at least.
Man, so what do you think is next for Adesanya now?
Um, I think definitely the winner of Whitaker and Cannonier, but I think the division's in a really interesting place because let's say Whitaker wins again, I don't think he gets another shot. So,
Okay.
then who do you look at after that? I think there might be another middleweight fight that's happening that could also bring over a contender, but I think you got to wait to see how that one plays out. Because if Cannonier wins, I think he's the clear #1 contender.
Yeah. What about for Costa, man? I've been thinking that Costa and Weidman would be a good fight. Chris Weidman?
Chris Weidman, yeah, that would be a good fight. But let's be real. I think let's continue to keep building Weidman back up. I think didn't he just win recently, right?
Weidman?
Yeah, I think Weidman won recently
Did
because he
he?
came back. Yeah, he went back to his normal weight class and won, if I'm not mistaken. But Paulo's too strong, man. I probably would advise against it right away.
Man, it's hard to believe that that guy is in middleweight. He looks huge.
He does. He actually looked a lot thin. I felt like he looked a lot thinner this time
This
when he
time,
fought.
yeah. But for example, with the Romero fight, he looked huge, and the one before that as well.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's a very big dude. So we'll see what the future holds for him. But he looks like he's gonna thin out and try and work on his cardio.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I think it's a good step,
Yeah,
for him.
definitely.
The the big muscular guys, it depends on the matchup, but they don't normally do too well. Like, the sport, like this sport's more like for the lean, lengthy guys. It's quite weird, right? Like did you see Justin Gaethje's most recent post?
Yeah.
I don't know, the one where it's like is a big muscular guy, and then it's him with his glasses, and it's like you wouldn't expect, but the one with the
True,
glasses is
true.
the one that would kill you, right? Like you find a lot of that in the sport, and I think it's awesome. It's hilarious.
Very, very much accurate though.
Yeah.
Because that's also part of the media that, for example, if you what will be the stereotype, the body stereotype of a fighter, you
Mhm.
think like an action figure,
Right.
you know, and then you that clear example, you get guys like Gaethje, who's a real dangerous man, but he just looks cool, like a
Yeah.
geek.
Yeah. Exactly. He's. I mean, I've never met him, but from what I hear, he's a cool guy. He trains a lot, with uh,
Both, yeah,
same gym as Justin.
yeah, man. And tell me, man, how was the stay with of Aaron over there? Aaron
Aaron, yeah,
Phillips.
dude,
Shout
it
outs
was
to him.
awesome. It was pretty awesome. So it was the first time we got to meet. I really think relationship building is one of the top three things, any good agent is gonna make sure happens when you sign a talent. Aaron obviously is out in Alaska. So, we when I did my scouting project, he was kind of somebody who I felt was going under the radar, and understandably so, because Alaska's MMA scene isn't the biggest, but luckily, the promotions he was fighting for were on UFC Fight Pass, so I was able to, get to see a lot of tape. Um, I think I signed him maybe 6 months ago, so I think it was just finally time for us to meet. Came down here, and the first day he kind of relaxed. I guess the first 2 days he kind of relaxed because once you come out here and visit, you'll see the elevation will get you, man. And you might be out for a day just like dragging and dehydrated. So he needed to rest the first few days, but then after that, man, it was fun. I drove him out to Fort Collins. He got to train in a team setting for the first time ever. I think one of the most interesting things about Aaron is a lot of what he's learned on his own. Like he'll be the first one to tell you that he learned off YouTube. Um,
Yes, and he
you
has
know, it's just, I think you and I have talked about this before. It's just like a natural fighting ability.
correct. Just
So
a natural fighter, man.
yeah, just an overall natural fighter and savage because what I'm starting to realize about the guys out in Alaska is there's some crazy guys out in Alaska.
Yeah,
He does a lot, he does his hunting and he does all this other stuff. But yeah, he got to train at Trials MMA and do his first team ever. And then he was there for 2 days, kind of exploring the area. I wanted him to see different parts of Colorado to see, do you see yourself, well, one, do you see yourself living here? Two, do you see yourself training with this team? And three, did you mesh well, um, with the coach? I think the head coach is extremely important in your career. So he loved it there. I picked him up 2 days later. He came back here to Denver. We linked up with Justin Wetzel. We went out for sushi one day, and then the next day,
shout
Justin
outs to
took
Justin.
yeah, shout out to, and the next day Justin took him to Team Elevation. So, he got to kind of experience what that team does, how they kind of run their classes, and he loved it, man. He loved it. We're excited. He's most likely gonna move. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but the goal is to get him out here, get him with a team, get him, you know, with a schedule.
So
uh,
he'll be in elevation fighting.
I guess we'll have to find out which one he decides to choose. I think it'll be Team Elevation, but he really enjoyed the area in Fort Collins in the small gym field because not never training with the team is nerve wracking in itself, right? So
Yeah.
imagine one of your first experiences ever. You see Neil Magny, you see Corey Sandhagen, right? Like you become a little starstruck, and I think if you talk to him again, he'll probably tell you the same. Like he was like it was surreal seeing them there and kind of like seeing how it all plays out.
I can imagine, man. But it's so good that he liked it because it could have come out a different way, considering that he just been training on his own most of the time. Maybe he already got used to that and just didn't click. But very, very nice that he was able to click with the team, that he liked it, and then he's gonna move there. But
Yeah,
that's the fact that he's gonna move this year or the next.
yeah. I think it was maybe like day 4 or 5. I remember he came down the stairs because I had him here
Yeah,
with for that week, and he was like, "Man, I'm sold. I'm sold on the whole thing." I think what was cool that he got to experience is living like a fighter full time. You know this, right? Like you train and you still have to work to pay the bills, and you still have to have a full time job. So, being here and just focusing on fighting, he was like, "Yeah, like this is what I need to be doing. This is what I need to strive towards," and we want to make it a reality for him. I think this is probably one of the more fun, uh, you know, relationships that I've been able to build is someone in his type of situation, right? Like we can really change his life, surround him around the right people, based off of our connections, and he could make his dream a reality, much more so than staying in Alaska, only fighting in Alaska,
yeah,
and never training with the team, right?
yeah, man. That is pretty amazing, man. I'm very, very happy for him. He is a great guy. I'm wondering what he's gonna do with his dog, though.
He's definitely gonna. He said he's gonna take him. He said he's
Okay,
gonna
cool,
bring
cool,
him.
cool.
So, but I know, he probably will come out here, get acquainted for a year, and then start, having people move, having his dog over. Um, he loves that thing, his little blind
Yeah.
dog.
Man, so there's like a lot of challenges he's gonna face. Being in the team, being in the new city, new people, like you said, the altitude. Man, the altitude is, yeah, that plays a big factor.
Mhm.
Like I was mentioning uh, before in our past conversations, that La Paz, the capital of Bolivia, also has a high altitude. And I remember when we first moved out there, like 2 or 3 years ago, my wife was with fever for 2 days because of the altitude. And
Mhm.
also, the air is so thin, you will have bloody noses all the time.
Yeah.
And man, and I tried to train there. I almost died. There was no air, man, to breathe. It was insane. Ah,
Yeah, man. It's so when I first moved out here, I moved out here um with just two suitcases, and I remember living in like a student dorm because I came to live out with a friend, and man, I remember day 3 was the worst. I felt so sick. I didn't want to go out. Unfortunately, it was a Friday. It was my first weekend in Colorado, and everyone was inviting me out. And man, I just couldn't get out of bed. I just I felt extremely sick. Everything was dry, right? I ended up having to just sleep for like 2 days until my body got accustomed. And I usually tell everyone who visits me, like, day 3 is normally the worst. And after day 3, you start getting a little accustomed. But I think Justin told Aaron it took him like 2 to 3 months before, the working out accustom happened for him. Like it took him 2 to 3 months to really fully accustom to training in altitude, running in altitude, and all that. So yeah, it's no joke, man.
Yeah, man, that's insane. That's why I'm so curious. I would love to give an opportunity to one of those fighters, especially in Bolivia and La Paz, because I
Mm,
remember this kid in particular. He was 17 years old at that time. His stamina, well, he was a great kickboxer, but his stamina was insane, out of this world. He
mm,
would never stop. He was always in good shape. And we're talking about in the city of La Paz that the altitude is insane. We're talking about 3,800 meters above sea level. I don't know how much that would be in feet,
hmm
but it's quite significant. So imagine taking that athlete into an environment where he can learn more about the sport and learn more techniques and train with other people that are more experienced,
hmm
having already the technique that he has and the stamina that he has. I think it will be a great combination and the outcome will be quite good.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the well. How's MMA in that area? Like, is it
Man,
is
it's new. It's new. It's not that big. It's growing now, but it's not like in Brazil, for example. No.
gotcha? Well, I mean, you and I, we kind of talk about this a lot, right? Like
Yeah.
bringing light to the underrepresented areas of mixed martial arts because those are kind of the kids who need it the most. They
Yes.
don't really know how to guide themselves. The UFC is global, but it truly is based in the United States, right? So I think I think it's important that you continue to do that and bring light to those types of peoples and get them more exposure because I feel like you're learning a lot now. We've had so many talks. I mean, this one's the first one we get to record, but I feel like we have a lot of really in depth talks.
No, that is true, man. Working with you and working with Dodge Sports, that has not only me, but everybody in JockPharm. Come on, Kiki, she knows now a lot about MMA. She's getting the design, what the audience likes.
That's
That's
awesome.
insane. She was making right now, when we were talking about the Adesanya and Costa fight, she was making really good comments, like very insightful. I was like, okay, all right, you know. So definitely has been rewarding working with you guys. A big, we're still learning, but it has helped us define a lot more what the business model can be now and what the business model can be in the future.
Yeah.
So, well, definitely thank you, man. Thank you to Matt as well. Thanks a lot to him.
Oh,
It's really nice working with Dodge Sports.
of course. Yeah, we love working with people like yourselves who are really adamant and passionate about the sport, but most importantly, really give a fuck about the fighters. For lack of a better word, because there's not many people who can tell you with the straight face and look at you in the eyes and say, "I care about the fighters," and period. Right? Like everything else comes secondary, and working with Matt too, I've got to learn so much. So I'm glad that you and I we talk the most, so you guys are learning and getting more invested. So it's kind of cool for me to kind of pass down what my mentor has been teaching me for the last year. So it's it's exciting and I actually I have some more insight that I want to give you because I started using the platform that the UFC uses
Okay.
called Talent Bid, and it's so similar to Jock Farm, man.
Mm.
It's wild, but I think where you're headed is still the untapped territory. That the sport really needs. So I'm excited to kind of share a little bit more with you now that I've kind of been playing with that a little bit too.
Yeah, man. Definitely, I want to learn. I want to learn and talent bit. I'll have that in mind now.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, I think it's visible to everyone.
I'll check it out.
I just started looking at it this weekend, but it's pretty cool.
Because that's definitely a goal that I have. I want to shine light on these fighters, on the life that they have, on all those struggles that they go through, the sacrifices that they make,
Hmm
because man, it's tough to be an athlete. It's tough to be a professional fighter and live off of that 100%. It's just tough, and even if you're on top, you don't know what you're going through.
hmm
Uh, one big MMA star that comes to mind was Ronda Rousey.
Mhm.
You know, she was at the top, and yet like she's a great fighter and all. People were like giving her a hard time because of her attitude and this and that. She lost, and everybody just like forgot about her, and that
Mhm.
she's horrible, and she lost it, and they were. I know that's the fans talking, but it did affect her, right? The mental game was not as what as it was not the same when she was winning all the time, of course. So
Right.
I think she never bounced back. So that's a struggle that many face, but
Mhm.
people don't know about it. And I think if people, agents, companies, whatever, have a lot more an idea what fighters do to be on top, they will give them a lot more opportunities.
Yeah, no, I think we're in a very interesting time, pandemic aside, when it comes to MMA as a whole, because you have this really uh I think healthy mix right now in the sport where you have a lot of veterans, right, who come from past MMA, what they used to think about, what they were all about, right? Like they bring their veteranness into the cage. Then you have a lot of people who they do this for a living, but they need to have a full-time job on the side to be able to, you know, keep the bills and keep the light on at the house and make sure they have food for camps. And then you have a lot of these young kids who went to college, who trained since they were 5 years old, right? And they're getting schooling, they're getting training, discipline. There's a whole bunch of them in the sport. I could name a whole bunch. Including I think Macy Barber. I know a kid out here named Michael Stack who I think went to one of the schools out in Colorado. I know Aaron Jeffrey on our roster graduated from Brock University, if I'm not mistaken. He has his nutritionist license. If you have a lot of these really smart kids who are coming into the sport at a very young age, and they're coming in so methodical, man, and it's so nice to work with these kids because they're not in it for the quickness of getting into the UFC. Now, Ronda, like you mentioned, is definitely a different example, but right, she did struggle after she lost, and I think a lot of the casual fans who watched only her fight definitely kind of forgot about her in a sense, or maybe didn't have as much faith in her. But there's a lot of people who on the opposite spectrum of Ronda, they come into the UFC short-minded. They take the shortcuts, they take the short notice opportunity on the same week, and then they get absolutely demolished.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, was it worth it? Was it worth starting your UFC career with a loss and potentially fighting for to stay into the UFC for your next fight? Was it worth it? I wish that more fighters took that into consideration, man, because this very well. This sport is not you're not in this for a very long time. And if you are, you're so lucky, but you got to make the best of it. And I think that's where agents come in, because you're not just an agent, man. I'm a psychologist.
Yeah.
I'm a hype man, right? Like I'm all of it. I'm all of it in one. And it takes a village to build the next big thing, and you got to be patient, especially right now.
Yes. Patience. Well, they say patience is key, right? You hear that all the time. You will hear it always, but it's just true. Patience, even as an athlete, is key to get yourself out there. You need to have patience and everything, and many don't. Many don't understand it. Many just cannot handle it. You know, and I guess, for example, that involves a lot of your work there. You know, somebody like, let's say, a kid, like, come on, man, like, and this and bothering you all the time. Come on, I want to fight. I've been out here for like 2 weeks, man. You know.
Yeah, luckily, Matt and I, the way that we recruit, we get really good people on the roster, and they're not all kids because a lot of them are older than me. But we go after the ones who are in it for the long term, because Matt and I aren't in it just to get you into the UFC and that's it. Like, we want to take a young talent or a talent that's right on the cusp, right? Get them the right matchups, get them the right sponsorships so that they can make it a little easier on themselves, and really just kind of methodically plan the next steps, right? Like, yeah, anybody can reach out to the UFC on your behalf. But when you get there, we want a few things. We want you to feel like you're ready and you have had, the experience you felt you needed. And a lot of that plays into the coaching, because the coaching staff makes a lot of the decisions here, right? Like, they know their athlete the best.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that people know who you are when you finally make it.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand that you need to work on your social media. like
Yes. Thank you.
like you could get signed off of pure talent, but are you going to be memorable, and do businesses want to work with you? And like, people can make so much more money outside of your cheap contracts on the regional scene, man. This sport doesn't pay well. The sport does not pay well. So what are you doing to make you uh, more bookable, more appealing to a matchmaker? Man, it's. I think that's why you see a lot of our guys that are active right now. Look at all their social medias, right? Like, they
Yeah.
all work on it. They all work on it. Promoters want to promote them, right? The minute I give them Nick Maximov's name, they go crazy. Oh, I could see how we can market him, and you know he does very well with social media, and he has great sponsors. So man, if anything, work on your social media right now for it.
Man, I've been having it's been challenging trying to transmit that message to athletes here in Finland.
Mm,
It's just like a different culture, different mentality. But they'll get there. They'll like little by little understand. But I think I agree with you 100%. Your social media is super important. I always tell them it's not enough just like for you to post a pic for this and that of your training or yourself. It's got to have, you need to have a certain order. You need to have a strategy behind it, in order to have a good effect. And
yeah,
like you
and
said, you need to look visible, be bookable, be likable, all that.
right, yeah, you got to work on your branding, man, because the last thing anybody wants is someone to not genuinely promote a brand, or you're in an interview and people who know you best are like, that's not you. Like, what are you doing? Like, all that's super important. And to me, when we're working with sponsors and we're working with specific fighters, and their plans, like, the fact that they want to promote it is always at the top of the list. And we try to build the brand around the brands that they use every day, right? Because those brands are going to promote you, and hopefully their following are going to follow you. So even if a company wants to give you free stuff, like, I think it's important that you build those types of connections and relationships in this game,
True.
because they're going to be the ones that put money in your pocket, and help you ease the financial burdens that this sport comes with.
Yeah, also it puts out the name of MMA out there, right?
Hmm.
There are like a lot of brands that are endorsing this MMA athletes that sometimes don't have any connection, but once they are connected, kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Actually,
so, yeah.
Jorge Masvidal, dude. I saw the other day that I think it was Jorge, or maybe it was someone else, but they promoted a brand on the UFC. I think they mentioned it, and they didn't ask them to do that, but it was a sponsor that they had from when they were a nobody. Like,
Okay.
how awesome is that to see, right? Like, that type of loyalty, because you believed in me when no one did, and now I'm at the top of the game, and I'm shouting you out because you believe. Yeah, like that. That to me gives me goosebumps, bro.
Yeah, that is true, man. That is very true. I remember. I said something like that to a fighter when I first started JockPharm. He was a Muay Thai fighter,
Hmm.
quite known, and I was like, "Hey, follow us, give us some support." And that person was all the time saying, "Yes, yes, yes," but never actually doing it.
Mm.
And then I even try to say it in Finnish, so maybe there was a language barrier, and she read it. This was all in text, right? But she read it, and I never got a response. So I got a little bit into my feelings, and I just said, "Hey, do you remember when you first started training, and the dreams that you had to become what you are today? Remember that, like all that support that you wanted from people. I'm pretty sure you didn't get it immediately, but
Hmm.
how big you are today, all the support that you have is magnificent. That's the
Mm.
same. That's the what I'm asking. Just give us some support, give us some love, and I
Yeah.
got that like.
That's awesome. No, I think that right there kind of sums up this game though, the sport of mixed martial arts. Like persistence is what's going to get you to where you need to be because you're never going to get, the response you want the first time you get it. You're never going to get the right matchup, the first time you ask a matchmaker. You have to build relationships. You need to you need to know, you got to know the right people, man. Like Aaron could have came here to Denver and just met me and chilled at my house.
Yeah.
But because I've taken the time to understand the game, build connections and genuine relationships, he was able to experience that. And I think that's what the game's all about, man. It's persistence. It's continuous hitting them up. It's continuously bragging about your guy. It's
Of course.
continuously, yeah. That's the name of the game, man.
Man, now because Dodge Sports is always looking for that talent, right? Tell me now, brother. Like, what do you guys want right now? Who can contact right now Dodge Sports?
I mean, anybody, honestly, anybody can. I have a lot of fighters hitting me up for advice on how to stay active during a pandemic. Um, I have people who do want me to take a look at them. They send me their typology. They send me tape. Same with Matt. I think we get DMs all the time. So I think it's important to know a few things. Right now, I think for us, we are kind of looking at a few different avenues. You've seen that we've probably signed about 3 guys
Yeah.
since the pandemic. I think Matt and I are really, passionate about making sure that the next level of talent that we bring on for Dodge Sports is going to continue to move the wheel. I
Okay.
think, if you think about it in a wheel motion, right? Like you have your talent who are under 4 fights, and then you have your talent here who they might be fighting in Bellator
Hmm.
or PFL or like another major organization that's outside the UFC, and maybe they're a little older. Then you have your talent here who are like on the cusp, right? Like the Aaron Jeffries of the world, the Anthony Romero's of the world, the Nick Maximos of the world. Those guys who are just like few fights away from the UFC. And then you have your guys who are in the UFC, Andre Ewell. So we're kind of looking at the first 2 phases that I mentioned, right? Like
Yeah.
under 4 fights, you know, really uh, have a ton of potential, right? Um, we also look at your social media, kind of plug that in again, like work on your social media. So truthfully, truth be told, anyone, but we really want savages. We want guys who are ready to fight, who want to be active, and also guys who are really starting to make some waves. They just need the next level guidance that an agency is going to provide, which is fight options, sponsorship opportunities, and so on and so forth.
So let's send a big invite to everybody to join Jog Farm. That way, Dodge Sports can check you out.
Absolutely, honestly, that actually sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Like we could do something like, hey, this weekend, Matt and Joey are going to review people who want to be reviewed, but you need to sign up on JockPharm and you need to set up your your profile the most accurate possible so that when we recruit, we can see, you know, your record, your losses, your wins, how you won, what weight class you fight in. That's important. We don't. We're an agency that we don't just want to sign 5 bantamweights and 5 middleweights, right? Like we're really strategic with the numbers we bring on because we want to make sure that an opportunity we get, we don't have to be like, okay, who gets it? Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? So we're really strategic with the number of specific weight classes we bring on.
Cool, man. I mean, that's a great idea, though. Definitely, let's plan it out and execute it. That would be a good thing. You know, there are like many things in the works right now. I don't know if Matt has filled you in, but I have come up with some other ideas on for us to work with. You know, also, for example, one of them is actually this was your idea to be able to connect these fighters and have a conversation with yourself or Matt, you know, kind of like a consultancy Q&A for 1 hour meeting, and that fighter can ask anything or everything they need or they want in order to find out what they need in order to start their MMA careers, you
Yeah,
know.
that's
So
important.
soon we're gonna be offering that. So man, thank you for that idea, man. I still remember it.
Of course. No, that's phenomenal. I love the direction you're getting. I think what's gonna make Jock Farm successful is to never lose that personal touch. And I know that's hard as you grow and you start getting more and more clients, but you know, in the meantime, continue that adding that level of personal touch, that return on investment that a lot of people are going to seek when they sign up for the site, you know. I think that's an awesome idea. And whether we sign a talent or not, I think it's important for someone to get real feedback, genuine feedback that's going to propel them. You know, like if you're 2-2, or you know maybe your last few fights haven't gone your way, you know, like we'll tell you the truth. You got to get a win. You got to get the right matchups, right? Like don't just take matchups to take them. You I've preached to you a lot about this too, right? Like
That is
don't
true.
let the pandemic get you, man. Like you're gonna feel like, man, I gotta fight. You're like, I got this awesome opportunity, and it's probably the only one I'm gonna get. And I'm itching, but I'm not 100%. Like, yes, we're in a pandemic, but I promise you, it's not the only fight offer you're gonna get.
True, true. That's good to have in mind, man. Well, brother, that's it for us, bro. I want to really thank you for your time. We had a really nice conversation. Let's talk more for sure. You
Absolutely,
know, send my best to your roommates, send my best to Siri,
absolutely.
and big hugs and love to you, brother.
Right back at you, brother. It's always nice to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be more in touch. I'll send an email out to you tomorrow, explaining a little bit more about our future plans of Dodge Sports and JockFarm.
Sounds like a plan, brother.
All right, man. You take care. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.